pipes that dancing on the roof. It's like they're calling out, don't lose your youth, 'cause I can stay
Hello everyone, and welcome to another video. Today is a weigh-in video, and I also want to share with you how I'm shifting my focus this October, the goals that I've set out for myself, and my plan to tackle them. You may know that as of late, I've been struggling with my weight loss journey, working to get out of a plateau and back on track after moving. One of the biggest things invading my mind and hindering my weight loss journey was tumbling back into old destructive habits, especially throughout the moving process. For those of you who may not know, I just moved to Saigon and I'm having a difficult time adapting. It is a complete 180 from what I'm used to. I can't get around because I can't ride a scooter, and it would be way too difficult to drive a car, especially in the city. It is also very loud and crowded here. For context, in Calgary, where I used to live, the population there was 1.8 million. Here in Ho Chi Minh City, the population is 8.9 million. Almost 9 million people here in Ho Chi Minh City. And every time I go to the grocery store, especially on the weekends, it is so hard to maneuver around the crowd of people. Everybody is just so jam-packed in a lot of the main spaces, and the only way to get anywhere in the mall or in the grocery store is to sometimes get outside and go around. So it's definitely difficult for me to get used to this. Now, this video is not me talking about my adjustment and what I'm doing to adjust to life here in Saigon. It's about my plans and goals for October. So getting into that, while we were moving, I noticed some of my old and destructive behaviors popping up. I just brushed it off as I was still adjusting to the change. But what I've noticed is that it was actually the fear of the change. I felt lost and pretty helpless. With this tagged along the fear of the unknown. A lot of questions popped up like, what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to get around if I can't even ride a scooter? I felt like I had no sense of independence whatsoever because I could no longer go out by myself. And I really was beginning to fear what my life would look like here in Saigon. With all of these fears plaguing me, it took a toll on my mental health, and it definitely did not help that I was just brushing these off and not even addressing them. After realizing all of this, the first thing that I wanted to do was set some goals for myself to get my mental state back in order. Now, how I'm going to do this is I'm going to be writing down more of the emotions that I'm feeling and some things that have happened and things that have made me feel the way that I do. Throughout the whole moving process, well, for most of the moving process, I stopped my journaling, and I noticed that this was part of the reason why my mental health kind of tumbled, is because I wasn't taking the time to actually think about the emotions that I was feeling or the change that's been happening and what I'm going to do. And so bringing back journaling and dedicating October to rebuilding this habit will help me with my mental health. Because I know that by writing out my feelings, I'm forced to think about them more deeply. And this helps me find the root of the problem or the root of the emotions and what made me feel a specific way. As I did journal before, I took some time to go back through my journal, and this helped me clarify some of the feelings that I'm feeling now. Some studies have shown that when you journal or take time to write out your feelings, it can help you grasp your emotions, but then also help prevent you from overreacting or even help you figure out what to do. Because it's one thing to sit there and think about your emotions, but it's another thing to sit there and see them written out on paper. Writing just willy-nilly can work for some, but for people like me, I have to think more deeply and seriously about what I want to write or what I'm feeling. Some questions that help me are, why am I feeling this way? What made me feel this way? Or what is causing the problem? Of course, these are just basic questions, but then I stem from there after asking those questions like, what can I do? Or why did this happen? Was it something that I did or something else that someone did? And is there a way that I can prevent this in the future? Journaling like this has worked wonders for me before, and that's why I really want to work to rebuild this back into a great habit. Now, the next thing I want to do is, of course, lose weight at a steady and healthy pace. I can't stress this enough, steady and healthy pace. During the last week of September, I took some time to reassess my diet and also my workout regime to figure out what was and wasn't working for me. Now, I had been doing the same thing for months, and I was too stubborn to even think about trying something different, believing that if I continue doing it this way, I'll eventually get back on track and lose the weight. I just have to stick it out. And with every passing day and no change in the scale, I began to feel bummed. But I was still too stubborn to try anything new or different. I had myself convinced that my body was still going through an adaptation period because of the change in the environment. But at the end of September, I realized my intransigence and decided it really was time for a change because my body has had plenty of time to adapt and I'm just not losing weight because what I'm doing is no longer working for me right now. And so with this realization, I did some research and came across the thing called Carb Cycling. Now, I am not a fan of keto, and when I saw that for Carb Cycling, you have to have low carb days, I was like, no, I don't want to do it. Give me my rice and bread. But with Carb Cycling, you have days where you eat normally and the amount of carbs that you regularly eat is completely fine on these days. Now, I'm not going to go too deep into what Carb Cycling is or what I'm doing because I'm saving that for another video after I've tested it out for a little while to see how it works for me, and then I would like to share it with you guys. So definitely keep an eye out for that video. But for Carb Cycling, I'm just testing the waters to see if it works, and if it doesn't, then it's back to the drawing board. Now, how this plays into my goals for October is I plan on sticking to this diet religiously. I'm going to be working hard not to break it, but then also still be flexible enough to shift the diet to make it work for me. I've already taken some time to figure out when or where I'm gonna have my high carb days and where I'm gonna have my low carb days. But if I have to, I'm gonna be switching those days around to see if they work. Now, by the end of October, I hope to be down to 178 or 175. And this gives me 3 weeks to lose 7 to 10 pounds, which before I was able to lose 10 pounds in 3 weeks. So this is nothing new for me, and I know that my body is still capable of it. That is why I've set this goal out for myself. Now, getting into my measurements for the weigh-in, right now I am currently 185 pounds. So I believe that it is pretty reasonable to get down to 178 pounds by the end of the month or at the end of the 3 weeks. My weight is pretty much the same as it was in the last weigh-in video. I believe there I was still 185 pounds. But some things have changed, and my other measurements went down pretty drastically, I must say. So my waist now is 33 inches, a whole inch from before. Both of my thighs have also gone down. They are 36 inches. My hips are 40 inches. And I've also lost some inches in my arms. They are both now 13.5 inches. Now for the last measurement, I noticed that I forgot to include this in my last weigh-in video, but my body fat percentage now is 35%. Now again, I know that this calculation or body fat percentage has a margin of error because the way that I calculated it was just taking the measurements from my waist, my neck, and my hips, and then it also asked me to enter in my weight as well. So that's how it calculated the body fat percentage. But I also plan on using the scale at the gym, and that scale I believe also measures body fat percentage. So I'm gonna try and enter that into the next weigh-in video to kind of show you guys a comparison between their scale and what I calculated. Now I am taking this number with a grain of salt. I'm just using it to help me gauge where I'm at. Now, these are the measurements of where I'm at now, and I hope that by the end of the month, I can see a difference. Now, I'm not gonna set any other goals for my measurements except for my weight, because we all know that there's no way that you can set a goal for your body measurements being like, oh, I wanna lose an inch on my thighs or lose 2 inches off my waist. You can't do that. You can't target the fat. When you lose weight, you lose the fat where you lose it, and you gotta be happy with it. Now, I'm looking forward to updating you guys at the end of the month how everything is going and how everything also went. and setting new goals for November. If you guys like this kind of video where we set goals together and at the end of the month come back and see how everything went, then I will continue making videos like this one. Now, if you don't want to miss out on the next video, be sure to subscribe to my channel and click the bell notification. Okay, that is it for today. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.